Welcome to Mental Fitness, the Gateway to Success podcast, providing business owners, leaders, and entrepreneurs with the 3 INs: insights, inspirations, and intentional actions. Delivered through monologues and dialogues, we address topics like leadership, productivity, time management, work-life balance, and challenges like stress, conflict, mental health, and much more. Please do not hold back from suggesting specific topics and guests you would like on this podcast. Greetings and thank you for tuning into this episode. And if you have been listening to this podcast for a little while, you know that I'm kind of in the middle of a sort of a mini series within this podcast around this massive topic of time management. What I'm going to do this week, though, is I'm going to put a pause on that just for this week, because there's something else that keeps coming up that I want to do an episode on that. One, because I know the value of it. And again, because actually out of the, I don't know, by now six, I think, guests I've had on, half of them have actually mentioned this. So I think now is a good time to have an episode about it. So what is it? Breathing. Yes, maybe you are rolling your eyes and you go, what has breathing got to do with this? What has breathing got to do with mental fitness? But if you hang around, I think it will become pretty clear that it is completely connected to mental fitness in a number of different ways. So I've had the fortune of working with breathing for over 30 years. And my breathing was completely out of order, and I had no idea. And I was fortunate to end up in a course in which breathing was a part of that. And in that, I learned, first of all, that my breathing was out of sorts and what to do about it. And then I started working on that. And within a very short period of time, I was able to get my breathing back into its natural full capacity. Because we are all born to breathe fully and correctly, if I can use that word. It's just that what happens for actually most of us is that we end up over time, without knowing, starting to create tensions and restricting our breathing. In my experience of having taught this to thousands of people over the last 30 plus years, my estimate is that it's at least 95% of all adults and teenagers breathing that is no longer in its natural, healthy place. And that is not just because you're getting older and the muscles are getting weaker, maybe. It is simply because we're building up tension. And it has several really bad side effects to it when we are not breathing the way that our body has been made to breathe by whoever invented this thing that we call the human body. Now, I have very recently written and uploaded an article on this on LinkedIn, and I will put a link to that. And what I will do in this episode is that I will grab a few things out of that and read a few things and then elaborate on some of that. And then I will give you some hints. And one amazing, simple, very powerful tool that you probably already have in your household that you can use to start shifting your breathing in a very short period of time. And the good news in this, in a way, is that you don't have to learn something new because your body already knows how to breathe properly. And you may wonder, well, am I not breathing? I'm breathing, I'm alive. So what? Chances are, if you're listening to this, is that you're in the 95+%. You may not be, and that would be fantastic. And if you can discover that from listening to this, that's fantastic. And so congratulations to you if that's the case. Most people's breathing has been somewhat restricted and without them knowing. So I will do the best I can in this just within the limit of the episode here to help you one like find out for yourself whether your breathing is restricted. And regardless, either way, doing some breathing exercises in and of itself is still a very good thing to do. And it's good for our mental fitness and it's good for a whole lot of other things. I'll get to that in a moment. So, the heading of the title of that article is Why Proper Breathing is a Game Changer for Business Owners and Managers. Again, it's a game changer for everyone. But since my work in general is with business leaders and managers and owners, um, the article is the language is geared around that. So one thing that I think we're all pretty much aware of is that burnout and stress levels is at an all-time high. And breathing, for some reason, is one of the last things people think to use as a tool. However, it is one of those tools that are the simplest, most effective in the moment tools that is already there and available to you, regardless of whether it is restricted or not. Breathing in and of itself as a conscious tool to calm the mind, to bring more focus, more clarity into the moment. And again, you don't have to breathe properly to get that value. However, if you are breathing properly, the value is so much better. So as I write here, proper natural breathing is one of the most underrated tools for improving performance, reducing stress, and gain clarity. And the reason that matters is that um, a number of headlines here is like stay calm under pressure. And we all experience, particularly if you're in a leadership situation, um, pressure is just a part of it. And even if you're not, it still can easily be a part of it. And when we're under that pressure and there's tension, and there might be some frustration, there might be some anger, irritation, things like that. When we're not breathing properly, our nervous system, um, like if you're breathing properly, your nervous system stays balanced, and it helping you to respond to challenges with a clear head instead of reacting out of stress. So most people, when I ask, so when you're in a stress kind of situation, what happens to your breathing? And most can tell me it's like it gets more shallow, it get more up in the chest and faster. And I'm lucky in the sense when I have some equipment I can attach to my body that shows me how my heart is feeling in a way, to put it shortly. And whenever I create kind of a stress feeling in my body, this monitor shows me instantly how the happiness of the heart goes down. And whenever there is fast breathing, particularly out of that tension and up in the chest, the heart doesn't like it. It is an unhappy feeling to the heart. If I then want to change it, all I have to do is to slow down my breathing and breathe deep and slow. And within seconds, this monitor gives me the feedback of the heart is feeling happier and happier, and the longer I do it for, the happier it gets. So again, there is technology there to prove the power of breathing for our well-being. So to stay calmer when you're under pressure, if you can find a way of accessing your breathing in that moment in a conscious way, you will find that you can immediately reduce your intensity level of the stress or the frustration or the anger. And from that place, you will be able to respond in a more powerful way, in a more useful way, and most likely in a way where you don't need to come back and apologize later. And another reason is that it boosts your energy and your focus. So shallow chest level breathing reduces oxygen flow, leaving us fatigued and scattered. Proper breathing restores energy and sharpens your focus. So just another way of saying what I just said before. But the new word here is energy and focus. So we can remain more focused on what it is that we are doing, and we will have more energy available if our breathing is in its natural full capacity place. And I will come back to things you can do to get there. Another main point is it enhances decision making. Again, just a different way of saying what I've just said. A calm and well oxygenated brain is better equipped to process information and make smart, strategic decisions. And one last one is the language I use in the article is model leadership. So when you manage stress effectively and lead with a calm confidence, your team will feel it and will mirror it. So I trust that you can see already from these benefits that we get from breathing, and there's more than I've mentioned here. We're just keeping it relatively short here today. I believe that you can see that that will have to increase your mental fitness in the moment. Because what is mental fitness about? It is our ability to meet challenges in a positive way. So if we want to meet challenges in a positive way, we have to remove stress, tension, anger, frustration out of it. Otherwise, we cannot meet those situations in a positive way. So breathing exercises in and of themselves, breathing consciously in meetings, but also working with your breathing if it has been limited and reopening, refining your natural breath will have to be good for your mental fitness, or at least create a better playground in which you can grow your mental fitness. So breathing is something we do somewhere around 20,000 times a day, you know. And yet most of us never stop to think if we're doing it right, or even stop to have a level of gratitude for it. So if you're able right now while you're listening, I just invite you, just in your own space, you can put a hand on your diaphragm, on your belly, and just feel the breath coming and going by itself. You don't have to do anything. It is even doing it when you're asleep. So how about just going, thank you. But just give it some acknowledgement for doing what it is doing. As we know, gratitude is one of the most powerful feelings, not just for mental fitness, but for happiness and fulfillment in general. So taking a few seconds every day just to say thank you to your breathing for doing its thing. You wake up in the morning, it has been doing it all night. You could just go, thank you. I appreciate that. Now, as I said, the shocking reality is that almost everyone, from like even pre-teenage, my wife works with children, 5, 6, 7-year-olds, and she's seeing it already at that age, how they have shifted, their breathing has been shifted out of its natural healthy place. And it's just not good for us. Um, Um, Again, I was privileged to be taught how to do this. And um, it happened really quickly. I was amazed at how quickly it happened when you have the right tools for it. Um, in less than 3 weeks for me, and my breathing was really out of order. I mean, really badly out of order, and I did have no idea. I couldn't do any sports at school where I had to have a high breathing level, which you need in most sports. And I just couldn't keep up with anybody. And I had no idea why that was, and I had no teachers pointing out that my breathing was part of that. So when I discovered this, I got really excited and I practiced quite intensively. And it took me only 3 weeks to feel a massive shift. And it took me only 3 months to completely restore my breathing to its natural place. So I know that it's possible, and I know the value of it as well. Um, in that, another benefit that came to me from going through this is that I actually went and did a training with this teacher, and I became a certified coach. Working with this was just a part of it, but working with being able to diagnose people's breathing level and then giving them and helping them with the tools to restore their breathing. Um, one way of looking at it from a practical, logical point of view, it makes sense as well. So if we're looking at our cells, I don't know how many we have, billions and billions and hundreds of billions of cells in our body, lots and lots. And each of these cells to be at its optimal health and function optimally. So our physical health will never be any better than the health of our cells. It just physically can't be. So if we look at a very, very basic level, the three key nutrients your cells need to be functioning optimally and to be healthy is food, it's water in whatever shape or form, and it's oxygen. And how long can you live without food? Some people say till lunchtime, but the reality is we're looking at, 4 or 5 weeks. You're not going to be happy the last couple of weeks, but you will most likely still be alive. So quite a while. How long can you live without water? And now that's a lot less, 3 to 5 days, depending on your body and the climate you're in. But we're still talking days that you can go without water. How long can you live without oxygen? And a few minutes. At some point, you're going to go unconscious, but still be alive. And some more minutes after that, you won't be alive any longer, and you cannot be brought back to life. So we're only talking minutes. So in a sense, oxygen is vastly more important than water and food. That should give us some kind of an indication of the importance of it and the fact that it is happening all the time. Like you only eat and drink now and then, but breathing is happening all the time. So why do we as a culture, as a species, tend to focus mostly the opposite way around? Food is far more important. And then water, yeah, okay, I'll have that, but I need to. And breathing, well, I'm breathing. What's a big deal? So our focus and our priority is often the other way around. I just want to encourage you, I invite you to flip the script and for a few weeks make breathing more important simply because it is more important. And yes, you can do something about improving that. And it's not just slowing the breathing down and making it bigger. Everybody can do that. That is very, very powerful, very, very valuable. Doing breathing exercises. I start every day as a part of my morning routine. I'm doing a minimum of 15 minutes of conscious deep breathing. Um, and I have my ways of doing that. There are so many different ways of approaching that and working with that. And go you do whatever works for you. What I use a lot of the time is what's called the Wim Hof method, developed by Wim Hof, the breathing man, the Iceman. And you can look that up. There are plenty of videos and instructions, and he will guide you through how to do that. Very, very powerful. Um, so before diving into some practical ways you can do that and finish off this session today, this episode, so the good news is your body already knows how to do it. It is just revisiting it. The restriction, people will say, so why have I restricted my breathing? Why would I do that? Well, you didn't do that. It's n nothing you would do consciously. It happened, and I'm not going to go into the reasons now because that's a whole other episode if we want to go into that. Um, but the bottom line is that restriction, tension in the body, which is often emotional, mental tension that we create, again, not creating it consciously, but that tension around the abdomen area then restricts the breathing because your diaphragm muscle is this huge muscle that sits in there and moves up and down. And when you put your hand on your belly, you can feel that movement. That is because it goes in and out. It's like breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. I'm exaggerating the movement here, but just for you to get a sense of this in and out that you can feel if you put your hand on. And when you're doing these breathing exercises, I encourage you to put your hand on so that you can feel that movement that is happening there. Um, so whatever tension might have built, including in the chest, but mostly around the abdomen area, that will restrict that movement. And the more restricted it is, the more shallow the breathing will be. And then when you need to breathe bigger because like you're doing some exercises, then yes, you can still breathe bigger. You can still go for a run, do your exercises, but you will still be limited. So what we're looking to do in the way that I work with people's breathing, it's not a fancy breathing method kind of the way to breathe this way for yoga or Pilates or running or anything like that. This way that I'm working with it has only got one purpose, only one, and that is to restore your breathing to its full capacity. Then what you do with that is entirely up to you. And any exercise, any special types of breathing you want to use for special activities, that's all fantastic. It's all good. Yogic breathing, tantric breathing, all good stuff. But if your breath capacity is not there to fully utilize it, then you're missing out. So the breathing exercises that I teach are there with the sole purpose of expanding your breathing, releasing some of that tension that is restricting it. And again, this episode here is not for going into detail with that, but I did promise to show you one tool to use and a breathing exercise you can do with that. So feel free to, I would love to hear in the comments below any experiences you have had with breathing, either with shallow breathing and like getting into those panic situations and not being able to breathe properly. Also, any tools that you might have used, any tricks you have learned along the way to improve your breathing, or any breathing techniques that you're working with that could benefit somebody else uh, checking into these to these podcasts. So please put any of that into the comments. And um, I do also have an online breathing course out there available, and I'll put the link into the description for that as well. And in that, I go into far more depth, obviously, with the breathing and into all the exercises, different ways of doing the exercises. And I have just been in contact with the platform that has the rights to that course, innovate.co. And I've managed to get them to reduce the price to half. And it should stay at that price. So by the time you watch this, you can go on there and grab that course if that is something you want to do. So here I'm waving a straw. It's a very, very cheap, very simple, very powerful breathing mechanism. So what we want to do when we're working with our breathing in this way, we want to focus on two extremes. One is to breathe out fully because there's tension that keeping us from breathing out. And if we can't breathe out fully, we can't breathe in fully. And then the other side of the equation is to work on the in-breath, but we work on them separately. And the way you push the boundaries of your breathing is by restricting your breathing. And this is the quickest way of doing that. You can do shh like hissing or pretending that you have a straw in your mouth. Much easier just to put a straw in your mouth. And these paper straws these days are really good because you can adjust the tension by squeezing. And the more you squeeze, the harder it is to breathe in and out. And therefore the tension is higher, just like going to the gym and putting more weights on. So the out breath, all you're doing is sticking the straw in your mouth or pretending you have a straw and then blow out. But you're breathing out as fast as you can right to the end of your out breath capacity. And because of this restriction, you can really feel your muscle getting a good, healthy workout. And just keep doing that for as many times as you like. It might be 3 or 4 times, it might be 30 times. It's entirely up to you. The more you do, the quicker you will improve. Now, caution here is if you start feeling dizzy, it is just a sign that your breathing is out of order. And it's okay to feel a little bit dizzy, but do not keep pushing into it. Have a break and come back to it a few minutes later or the next day. So don't overdo that and fall over and faint. I don't want you to do that because there's no value in that. So that's the out breath. The in breath, same thing. Straw in the mouth. And then you breathe in as fast as you can, right to the top. Have a smile on your face. Let it go. And then do it again. If it's too easy, squeeze a bit more so that your muscle have to do some good work there. So in that, you're doing two things. You are strengthening the musculature itself, but you're also pushing into the boundaries and into the tension and starting releasing tension, which if it's in the gut area, it's also going to benefit your digestive system. So yes, this is very powerful for helping and supporting your mental fitness journey, as well as everything else in life, because your cells need oxygen, and your brain only weighs about 2% of your body weight, but it requires about 20% of the oxygen coming in. So deep, full breathing will nurture not only your entire body, but also your mind, which then helps with your personal growth, with your mental fitness, with your mental health. So I can keep talking about this, but I'm not going to, just because I'm quite passionate about it, because of the value I have seen of this in my own life and the thousands of people I've helped with that. If you want some personal help from me, just get in touch and we can do a quick Zoom session. I can help you diagnose your breathing and give you some more practical ways of working with that. Otherwise, you can go and grab the online course I have, but go on LinkedIn and read the article as a starting point. And let me know in the comments any thoughts and any experiences you have around that. Thank you for your time today and happy breathing. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Mental Fitness, the Gateway to Success. If you have stories of how mental fitness has benefited you that you are happy to share, go to my website, mikael.nz, click on podcast and fill in the guest application form. If you want direct support from me utilizing my 40 years of mental fitness learning and practice, email me at coach@mikael.nz or message me on LinkedIn. Any feedback, review, share, follow, like, or any other good stuff is of course appreciated. Thank you for listening to Mental Fitness, the Gateway to Success podcast. I'm your host, Mikael Nielsen.